From Lagos, the nation's commercial capital. This is the News at 10. Live from Channels Television. Reporting tonight, Kayode Okikiolu.
Tonight, police in Lagos name an auxiliary nurse as a prime suspect in the death of Afrobeat singer Ilerioluwa Aloba, popularly known as Mohbad, lists Naira Marley, Sam Larry and Prime Boy as suspects in the case. More trouble for Naira Marley as court issues production warrants to answer to an 11-count charge bordering on conspiracy and credit card fraud filed by the EFCC. And Tribunal affirms the election of Governor Alex Otti in the March 18th governorship election in Abia State, dismisses the petitions by the candidates of the PDP and APC.
On business news tonight, Nigeria's capital importation drops by 9% to $1.03 billion in the second quarter of 2023, according to latest report from the National Bureau of Statistics.
On sports news tonight, Rivers United faced tough test in Group C of the CAF Confederation Cup following the draw for the group phase conducted in Johannesburg, South Africa earlier today.
From Abuja, the nation's capital, is war of words between the ruling APC and SDP in Kogi State. Both parties blame each other over the deadly attack during a campaign rally by the SDP in Cotton Cafe near Lokoja, the state capital.
And in international news from London, a jailed Iranian human rights activist has been awarded the Nobel Peace Prize.
There appears to be some more clarity into the events that may have led to the death of Afrobeat singer Ilerioluwa Aloba, popularly known as Mohbad, as the Lagos State Police Command today named an auxiliary nurse identified as Feyishayo Ogedegbe as a prime suspect in the case. During a press briefing on investigations into the controversial death of the musician, the Commissioner of Police, Idowu Omowa, revealed that Ms. Ogedegbe administered multiple and highly potent injections to Mohbad at his residence on September the 12th. He also named Naira Marley, Sam Larry and Prime Boy as suspects in the case.
On September the 12th, 2023, the nation's entertainment industry was thrown into mourning with the news of the death of rising Afrobeat singer Ilerioluwa Aloba, popularly known by his stage name Mohbad. The singer was buried by his family the day after he died, fueling widespread anger and suspicions about how he died. Since then, a whole lot has happened, as his supporters believe that there was more to his demise than meets the eye, as the exact cause of his death remained unknown. From Osogbo in Osun State to Abeokuta, the Ogun State capital, down to Lagos, his fans hit the streets in protest, demanding justice for Imole. Thereafter, the Lagos State Police Command announced an investigation into events leading to his death, a move that led to the exhumation of the singer's body for an autopsy. Still in search of clues about his death, the police arrested a Lagos-based music promoter Sam Larry, as well as Naira Marley, the boss of Mohbad's former record label, believing they could provide useful information that could unravel the mysteries surrounding his death. With both men and other suspects still in custody, the Lagos State Commissioner of Police, Mr. Idowu Omowa, on Friday addressed a press conference where he provided preliminary reports of investigation conducted by the police team to untangle circumstances that led to Mohbad's death.
5 suspects have so far been identified, arrested and detained and interrogated on their alleged roles in the sequence of events that led to the death of this singer. There are preponderance of evidence linking both Naira Marley and Sam Larry to the allegations of threat to life, cyber stalking, and sundry crimes committed against Mohbad in his lifetime, and they are being so held liable.
Mr. Owuwa also highlighted the role played by an auxiliary nurse in the Mohbad saga.
She acknowledged that it was the injection that she administered on the deceased that triggered the reaction which eventually led to Mohbad's death. Other expert opinions and witnesses' statements corroborated her admittance. Her actions of administering doses of tetanus toxoid, paracetamol, intravenous, and cetrazone injection, which was also administered intravenous on Mohbad at his residence, that's Mohbad's residence, on 12 September 2023, immediately triggered the reactions, including vomiting, goosebumps, and convulsions, that eventually resulted in the singer's death.
While the nation is still digesting the facts presented by the police in respect of investigation into Mohbad's death, attention will now shift to how the case will pan out, including the coroner's inquest going forward.
Meanwhile, a federal high court sitting in Lagos has issued a production warrant against Naira Marley. The singer is being prosecuted by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, on an 11-count charge bordering on conspiracy and credit card fraud. At a resumed sitting today, counsel to the defendant's senior advocate of Nigeria, Olalekan Ojo, informed the court that the defendant was unavoidably absent owing to his detention by the police for interrogation in respect of Mohbad's murder. Mr. Ojo then asked the court for an adjournment of the trial, a request which was granted by Justice Owebo, who then issued a warrant of production against Naira Marley. A production warrant is a temporary order directing that an accused person or defendant be brought to court to answer to the charge. The matter was adjourned till October the 30th for continuation of trial. Hello from Lagos now. The Abia State Election Petition Tribunal sitting in Umuahia, the state capital, has upheld the election of Governor Alex Otti of the Labour Party in the March 18th governorship election. The court dismissed the 3 grounds of prayers brought by the candidate of the People's Democratic Party, Oke Ahaiwe, against Governor Otti for lacking in merit. Mr. Ahaiwe had challenged the declaration of Mr. Otti as a duly elected governor by the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, maintaining that his victory did not conform with Section 77 of the Electoral Act, among other priors. The tribunal also dismissed a case brought by Ikechi Emenike of the APC, seeking the removal of Governor Otti from office on allegations that he did not resign his membership of the APC before joining the Labour Party. In another legal matter, Justice Binta Nyako of the Federal High Court Abuja has sentenced 2 persons for the 2013 kidnapping of senior advocate of Nigeria, Mike Ozekome, and former Delta State Commissioner, Professor Hope Eagha, to 20 years in prison each. Delivering judgment, Justice Nyako sentenced Mr. Kelvin Onyera and Frank Azueko after convicting them of kidnapping and terrorism. However, the judge discharged a traditionalist, Michael Amanio, who was arraigned alongside the convicts. Our correspondent, Emanuela Kelly, reports.
Justice Binta Nyako's courtroom at the Federal High Court is quite filled with people who are here to hear the verdict of the court on the trial of 2 persons, Mr. Kelvin Onyera and Frank Azueko, kidnappers of a senior advocate of Nigeria, Professor Michael Ozekome, and the former Delta Commissioner for Higher Education, Professor Hope Eagha, in 2013. The accused persons collected a sum of 75 million naira ransom for the release of Professor Ozekome and the commissioner, and we also charged with murder for the killing of 5 policemen and 2 prison officials. They had pleaded not guilty to the 14-count amended charge. While handing down her sentence, the judge stated that some of the charges which the convicts were arraigned for carried life imprisonment. However, she had to use her discretion to sentence them to 20 years imprisonment each, which commenced from the date of their arrest in 2013. Before the sentencing, the trial judge gave the suspects room to plead for leniency, and they prayed the court to grant them minimum sentences because of their deteriorating health condition.
The Lord actually delivered an erudite judgment This case started for the past 10 years. It has not been an easy journey. It started before Honorable Justice Ademola. When he now retired, the matter was now given to my Lord Justice Nyako to handle. It has been a very tough time for our officers of the criminal justice system, and to equally tell the public that the officers of criminal justice system are still working.
However, the counsel for the defendants said they would be appealing the judgment.
A lot of issues from the judgment, though the judge put in the best she could, but there were a lot to take from there. So we will take the necessary step to make sure we appeal and have them released, because we believe sincerely from our own end that we make a good case, and there was no reason to convict them at all. There was no reason for that. 2
other persons were set free. One of them is a traditionalist, Mr. Michael Omonigo, while the 4th defendant, Haruna Momo, is still on the run. He's expected to answer the charge of escape while in detention. Emanuela Ekele, Channels Television News.
And away from the courts, the federal government has concluded arrangements for the funding of the $617 million investment in digital and creative enterprises program, also known as IDPs. This was disclosed by the Committee for the Implementation of the program after meeting with the Vice President Kashim Shettima at the Presidential Villa in Abuja. Our State House correspondent, Empress Simon, reports.
It's the inaugural meeting of the Steering Committee on the Investment of Digital and Creative Enterprises, IDPs program, with the Vice President, Senator Kashim Shettima, the Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, as well as the Minister of Communications, Innovation and Digital Economy, attended the meeting, which was held behind closed doors at the Presidential Villa, Abuja. The IDPs program is the initiative of the administration of President Bola Tinubu aimed at creating digital jobs for Nigerian youths under the age of 35.
The Vice President, as the leader of this particular project, is very keen that the promise of His Excellency President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, particularly to the youth, that is met, the creation of 1.2 million digital jobs. This $617 million project will go a long way to achieving the President's priorities of job creation and economic growth, and particularly inclusivity. One of the major elements is going to have 50% participation by women.
The Nigerian technology and creative ecosystem has been doing well. It's the best on the continent. I think last year, the entire continent raised about $5 billion US. Nigeria only did 20% of that. And with this funding, what it means is that not only are we going to be a leader in the region, we actually want to be a leader globally. And there's no other way to do that but by investing in the technology startups that are building this solution. So the government is putting its skin in the game to say we want to support, we want to see more local companies building, and there's no other way to show that support but by putting money down, investing in the companies.
Funds are expected to be made available to youths in various areas of interest under the program.
The IDPs program is actually a $617 million program. It will cover the digital area, the creative area, and entertainment area, especially the areas that the youth are interested. So this is actually for the youth, people below 35. We have some grants, we have some loans, we have some equity. And for the startups, government is hoping that some new unicorns are going to emerge from this particular program.
The IDPs program is expected to be launched in November 2023, and in addition to creating jobs, it is also expected to impact on the Nigerian technology industry through the promotion of the activities of start-up businesses. Emperor Simon, Channels Television News.
And in part two, after the break, the United Nations Development Programme, UNDP, pledges to support Yobe, Adamawa and Borno states to ensure that all internally displaced persons in the areas are returned to their homes in a dignified manner. Well, that's in a moment. Stay with us.
Pearl and Beauty deodorant with natural pearl extracts and avocado oils for soft, smooth, and beautiful underarms. The perfect balance of 48-hour protection and care with delicate fragrances. Feel the power of pearls. Nivea Pearl and Beauty for soft, smooth, and beautiful underarms. Try our new Pearl and Beauty Black Pearl for smooth and perfumed underarms.
Come with me. Bask in freedom. There are no deadlines here. Hurry so you can take your time. The sunset from above. A visual buffet. Pictures capture moment. 100 conversations don't exhaust the tale of your new favorite filter. The salt of the sea warm on your dark skin.
I would love to come back here. A truly immersive experience is our reality. South Africa invites you to summer with us. Create your own story with customizable experiences now. Visit southafrica.net. It's never too late to summer in SA.
This used to be me. Not anymore. With Edvest, I can oversee and access all my school records from any part of the world. From a single dashboard, I track enrollment, monitor e-learning activities from homework uploaded to video lessons shared. Edvest CBT makes conducting school exams seamless, both online and on the school premises. Parents can monitor their children's performance and pay fees. Students have access to assignments, virtual classes, and over 160 math and science simulations. Beyond all this is Edvest's amazing support. To see a free demo, log on to www.edvest.net/free demo.
Repair and recover with Astamin, a blend of amino acids and multivitamins.
I'm lucky when into the world stops spinning. I'm lucky when into the world stops spinning. I'm lucky when into the world stops spinning. I'm lucky when into the keep up with me. Come on, let's go. I'm lucky when into the world stops spinning. Independent women, come on, now let's get it. I'm lucky when into the world stops spinning. Africa, you feel me? Come on, now let's get it.
New styles from Darling. Find your beautiful.
Well, welcome back. If you've just joined us, you're watching the news at 10, coming to you live from Channels Television Lagos. Well, here's a reminder of our top stories. Police in Lagos name an auxiliary nurse as a prime suspect in the death of Afrobeat singer Ilerioluwa Aloba, popularly known as Mohbad, lists Naira Marley, Sam Larry, and Prime Boy as suspects in the case. And more trouble for Naira Marley as court issues production warrants to answer to an 11-count charge bordering on conspiracy and credit card fraud filed by the EFCC. Tribunal affirms the election of Governor Alex Otti in the March 18th governorship election in Abia State, dismisses the petitions by the candidates of the APC and the PDP. And a jailed Iranian human rights activist, Narges Mohammadi, wins the 2023 Nobel Peace Prize. The United Nations Development Programme, as UNDP, is pledging to support Yobe, Adamawa and Borno states in returning all internally displaced persons in a dignified manner under the Solution Agenda Programme. The head of the UNDP in Nigeria, Mr. Mohammed Yahya, made this known while on a courtesy visit to Governor Mai Mala Buni of Yobe State at the Government House in Damaturu, the state capital. He explains that programs on early recovery and vocational training are still ongoing in the most affected areas.
Thank you very much. You may be seated.
The head of the United Nations Development Program, Mr. Mohamed Yahya, leads his entourage to this meeting at the Yobe State Government House, Damaturu, for a meeting with Governor Mai Mala Buni. The meeting is part of efforts to strengthen the government's recovery process.
We are interested to engage in line again with your vision for your second term, is the issue of what to do with prolonged displaced people. How can we help them go back home for those who want to go back home? How can we support your vision of making sure there is either dignified return or dignified reintegration? And I think this is where we're here. A part of that work is to start the issue of dealing with the IDPs.
Governor Buni appreciates the support from the United Nations for its recovery, reconstruction, and stabilization program, adding that the state government is working for the safe return of the displaced persons in Malundunari community in Gujba local government.
As of today, all the displaced communities in the state except Malundunari community in Gujba local government area have returned and resettled. This was facilitated by the construction of infrastructure, including the local government secretariats, police stations, hospitals, schools, water facilities, markets, and other public structures carried out by the state government and supported by some development partners.
The UNDP team also inspected the newly commissioned 350-bed capacity maternal and child hospital, which the UN is pledging to support.
Yeah, I've just seen the equipment that the governor and the state will put in this facility. It's pretty impressive. So we're quite impressed with the potential of this place dealing with something that is very important, issues of maternal and child health that impacts this state. So we're already working hand in hand with the government of Yobe under the leadership of the governor. But here for us is an opportunity to look at the second term, as he starts his second term, where the priorities are. And you've seen one of them here in health and education and other areas.
This collaboration between the UN and Yobe State government gives hope to the displaced persons that they will return to their homes as soon as possible.
Also, infrastructure development, the Minister of Works, Mr. David Mai, is again pledging to deliver quality roads, and that's in spite of budgetary constraints. Mr. Mai restated this in Abuja when he inaugurated a committee on road supervision across the country. The minister also hinted that the President Tinubu administration has released money to fix collapsed bridges across the country, especially for the maintenance of the third mainland bridge in Lagos.
They will also ensure the quality and integrity of the construction. They will make sure that our new policy, holds in terms of the method of construction. They will make sure that we have enough equipment on site and the experienced personnel from the contractor. So it's about supervision, and supervision is about the integrity and sustainability of the project. First is the super deck of the terminal bridge. Over the years, there have been a lot of laying of asphalt, unregulated. That project is designed to have just 5 cm of overlay of asphalt, but it's carrying between 10 to 30 cm of overlay of asphalt. So we are going to mill out all the asphalt, and we are going to resurface it according to the design. We're going to mark the place. We're going to change some the expansion joints. We are going to put more solar lights. We are going to repaint the curbs. It's going to be a beautiful structure when finished. So let me announce that Mr. President has approved funds that we start the project immediately, and I want to thank Mr. President for that. And we are writing the Lagos State government to spread the good news.
And now for more stories on the news at 10, let's head over to our Abuja studio where Linda Kigbe is sitting by. Good evening, Linda.
Good evening, Kayode. We begin with politics. The ruling All Progressives Congress, APC, and the Social Democratic Party, SDP, are trading blame over the fracas that led to the death of a party supporter on September 29, 2023, during a rally. The campaign event, which was organized by the SDP at Cotton Cafe on the outskirts of Lokoja, the state capital, abruptly came to an end following the violence. While the APC claims the SDP is responsible for the mayhem, The SDP is accusing the ruling party of disrupting its campaign plans in order to destroy its image in the state. Officials of both parties spoke at separate news conferences in Lokoja.
It is on record that the SDP candidate already said the Commissioner of Police was not aware of his rally. The rally was a satanic ambush on the peace-loving people of Kotonkarufi, leaving in its wake the blood of an innocent woman, whose only sin was belonging to the All Progressives Congress.
We are calling to the general public, the IG of Police, the DSS Director General, the Army, and the Police Commissioner of the state and other security apparatus to come to our aid. We can no longer sleep in Kogi State eyes closed. We've had all sorts of attack on our supporters. When you come to Aingbade Festival, the DG, Murisam Campaign Council of the local government, his house was attacked, his motorcycle was burnt down, and destroyed his property and chased his family away.
Meanwhile, the candidate of the African Democratic Congress, Mr. Leke Abejide, is assuring residents of his state of his commitment to transform the state through policies which will impact positively on the masses. Addressing a stakeholders meeting in the Kogi state capital, Mr. Abejide says the current level of development in the state deserves urgent attention.
About Right Honorable Leke Abejide.
From the 21 local government areas of the state, members of the African Democratic Congress converged for a stakeholders meeting.
Quick.
The convener of the meeting is the Kogi state governorship candidate of the African Democratic Congress, and he wants all hands to be on deck to address the challenges in the state.
Let us work as one. This is even our time. We have been helping our brothers in Kogi East, in Kogi Central. It is our time, our local.
One after the other, stakeholders enumerate the challenges bedeviling the state.
For my brothers that are not members of ATC that are here, but by your conviction, you realize that these people are not voting party, they are voting product. And you have realized that these products are the products we require to move Kogi State out of the doldrum.
Determined to change the fortunes of the state, the candidate of the African Democratic Congress plans to continue these engagements to aggregate the concerns of the people as he seeks to occupy the Lord Lugard House.
Here in the Federal Capital Territory, as part of measures to prevent corruption in the justice system, the Minister of the FCT, Mr. Nyesom Wike, is promising improved welfare for judicial officers. Mr. Wike stated this when he met with the FCT Chief Judge, Justice Hussaini Yusuf, in his office, where he noted that the judges deserve better treatment. He's, however, appealing to the judiciary to look into the indiscriminate issuance of injunctions against the FCT administration on land racketeering and other matters.
The environment in which they are in that case, if that's we have provided things that will make them to provide certainly. But if you have not provided it, then you don't talk about fighting corruption. So the president has said for him, he was going to do anything that will make judiciary to realize that they have to do the work in order to make this country to move forward. Nobody will come and tell them with anything. Because part of what we do, how do you retire as a judicial officer and you have no home to go to? It doesn't make sense. And so, as a parent has told me that I must, as a matter of urgency, liaise with the chief judge to see how we can work out this, where judges will have more time, judges of the FCT judicial. So just be assured that
Still ahead on the news at 10, Nigeria's capital importation drops by 9% to $1.03 billion in the second quarter of 2023, according to a report from the National Bureau of Statistics. That's some business news. Join us again.
Brother Jumble, why you dey fumble? You no need to dey suffer to send money, Carry phone, make you dial the number 894. Make you know they wait. 894. No need to dey stand for line. 894. It is safe and secure. 894 for me. 894 for you. 894 for Nigeria. Number that could change the whole world. 894. It no matter if you don't get data. 894. Just pick your phone and dial the number. 894 for me. 894 for you. 894 for Nigeria.
Dial star 894 hash to get started.
You fast, fast, fast.
The Federal Ministry of Health, through the National Primary Healthcare Development Agency, in collaboration with partners, are commencing vaccination of girls aged 9 to 14 years with HPV vaccine to protect them against cervical cancer. It is estimated that Nigeria records more than 12,000 new cases of cervical cancer, with about 8,000 deaths every year. It is the second most common cause of cancer deaths among women. But the good news is, cervical cancer can be prevented with vaccination. In line with global cervical cancer elimination strategy of vaccination, screening, early diagnosis, and treatment, the HPV vaccine, which prevents against cervical cancer, will be administered to girls aged 9 to 14 years in schools, communities, and all primary health care facilities from 24th October 2023. Protect our girls against cervical cancer and other HPV-related diseases by vaccination with HPV vaccine. HPV vaccine and all other vaccines are free, safe, and effective. Women of reproductive age and above are encouraged to go for screening. For further inquiries, call the following NPH CDA toll-free number 7722. This message is from the National Primary Healthcare Development Agency with support from partners.
You're welcome back to the news at 10, live from Abuja. The Minister of Agriculture and Food Security, Mr. Abubakar Kyari, has been speaking of the medium and long-term plans of his ministry towards boosting food production in the country. According to him, the provision of improved seedlings and farm inputs, such as fertilizer, engagement of extension service workers, as well as improving the capacity of agriculture research institutions, form a major part of his plan. The Kyari spoke to journalists in Abuja.
When we're talking about environmental issues, climate issues, the actions of government is great, but without the people, those actions will not have any impact.
The immediate priority actions that is ongoing until the end of this year, 2023, the most pressing actions we are currently handling is preparation for the next dry season farming, beginning from November 2023. To this end, some preparatory activities have been carried out and many others are at advanced stages. 1. Certification of available planting materials for some food security crops in readiness for dry season farming. 2. Aggressive promotion and preparations for dry season farming, which commences from November this year. 3. Implementation of the dry season wheat production starting in November 2023 as part of the National Agricultural Growth Scheme and Agro Pocket NAGS AP projects funded by the African Development Bank. Under this scheme, the target is to produce wheat of over 70,000 hectares across the wheat production zone of the country and an expected yield of 875,000 metric tons to our food reserve. Blending of appropriate fertilizers to support this year's dry season farming while making provisions for next year's farming season well in advance.
That's all from Abuja. Back to Kayode for the rest of the news.
Well, thank you, Linda. And it's more ministerial agenda setting. This time, the Minister of Innovation, Science and Technology, Mr. Naji, has listed his priority focus areas in the Executive Order 5 of the President, which is aimed at giving comparative advantage to local manufacturing, innovation and technology companies to boost local production for export. Mr. Naji says in line with the President's marching orders, he and his team will prioritize methanol fuel technology, innovation centers and clean technology to combat climate change, among others.
The Strategic Implementation Task Force of the Executive Order will operationalize these objectives with its Presidential Monitoring and Evaluation Council. The National Office for Technological Acquisition and Promotion also maintains a database of Nigerian professionals for project execution. As part of the broader strategy, various policies and programs are in place at advanced stages of finalization. One is National Strategy for Competitiveness in Raw Materials and Products Development. This strategy facilitates shifting from an oil and gas dependent economy to harnessing diverse raw materials and other resources for high quality made in Nigeria products for local consumption and exports. And we do everything to make sure that those centers are established so that our people will get certification, will get the training needed and get certification from international bodies to upgrade them to international standard. That way we are not going to be importing labor like we are doing today. We will have labor in abundance to service all those welding work. So that is another advantage that Executive Order number 5 is offering to this country.
Well, to maritime security, a wooden boat containing over 50,000 liters of premium motor spirits, also known as petrol, reportedly being smuggled out of the country has been intercepted by operatives of the NNS Beecroft in Lagos. According to the commander, the smugglers fled the scene on site in the Navy. Meanwhile, the Western Naval Command has received a delegation of the French Navy on a 3-day visit geared towards strengthening the bilateral relationship between Nigeria and France, as well as enhance maritime security within the Gulf of Guinea.
They use the waterways to carry out their illicit activities, hoping to evade the long arm of the law. But today, luck runs out on them. This boat has been spotted and intercepted by personnel of the Nigerian Navy ship Beecroft. The blue wooden boat is guided to their base. Over 50,000 liters of PMS stored in more than 200 large jerry cans, valued at approximately 30 million naira, are on board, an indication of a likely illegal bunkering activity.
We detected activities in a particular community called Igboelejo community along Liverpool Creek, here in Lagos State. So we have to deploy men. Apart from the fact that this activity is economic sabotage, it could also trigger fire with attendant consequences on life and property. I'm sure you are aware of what happened in Delta State, including a community called Arokoto, in a border community in Benin Republic.
Milestones like these are often a result of intelligence gathering, information sharing, and other forms of collaboration. Little wonder the visit of the French Navy to the Western Naval Command appears to be a welcome development.
I will allow each officer to just introduce himself or herself.
They'll be joining their Nigerian counterpart in exercise Crocodile Lift to strengthen ties in the fight against piracy, narcotics, smuggling, and other maritime vices.
And one of the key activities we had last year was the first edition of Crocodile Lift, which was actually a first in the area. The French Navy is very much committed to share its experience in the fields of maritime security.
representing the flag officer commanding. The Chief Staff Officer is excited about the impact this would create.
Each year they come around, we do exercises with them for the protection of our waters, especially the Gulf of Guinea waters. They've been our partners. We've benefited a lot from them.
To make the most of the country's resources in the face of current economic realities, all hands must be on deck to protect the country's maritime domain. Chris Alems, Channels Television News.
Away from security, the federal government has acknowledged the importance of raising awareness and collaborating with relevant stakeholders to address the effects of climate change. The Minister of State for Environment, Mr. Ishak Salako, stated this when he received the African Activists for Climate Justice delegation led by Oxfam, Nigeria. He emphasized the collaborative efforts required from governments and partners to address the challenges posed by climate change and promote sustainable environmental practices.
When we're talking about environmental issues, climate issues, the actions of government is great, but without the people, those actions will not have any impact. So whatever government is doing, we must continuously engage with the people so that there can be that cross-fertilization of ideas. The people knows what government is doing, government know what the people are doing, and therefore all of us can continuously improve. And CSOs, NGOs like yourself represents a part of the people. Issues of climate is beyond just government. Government, yes, can make policies. If the people are not part of it, then we are wasting time. Ensure that we bring in climate ambassadors, environment ambassadors to impact some of the actions of our people.
Well, let's switch gears now on the news at 10. It's time for business news with Anne Wawado.
Banking so easy, so simple. Dial *894# now to experience it. You first, First Bank.
Thank you, Coyote. Hello and welcome to Business News. Nigeria's capital importation fell by 9.04% quarter-on-quarter to $1.03 billion in the second quarter of this year, coming from $1.13 billion in the first quarter, and that's according to latest report coming from the National Bureau of Statistics. Key highlights of the capital importation report shows that overinvestment was the major contributor at $837.3 million. It was followed by the portfolio investment at $106.8 million and foreign direct investment at $86.03 million. The production sector received the highest inflow of capital imported during the quarter at $605.04 million, while banking sector followed with $194.5 million. At the same time, the United States was the largest source of foreign capital imported into Nigeria, contributing $271.9 million, followed by Singapore and South Africa. Meanwhile, Lagos State remained the top destination for capital importation, attracting $778.06 million, while Abuja, the Federal Capital Territory, followed with $194.2 million. And outside our shores, the number of jobs in the United States surged more than expected last month. Employers added 336,000 jobs in September, and that's almost double the 170,000 estimated. According to the report released by the Labor Department, data for the month of August was also revised higher to show 227,000 jobs were created instead of 187,000 previously reported. But while job numbers surged, monthly wage growth remained moderate in the month of September, with an average hourly earning rising 4.2% in 12 months to September. Meanwhile, the latest jobs report shows that the U.S. unemployment rate remains at 3.8%. The government of Russia says that it has withdrawn a ban on diesel exports delivered to seaports via pipelines, removing a large chunk of restrictions it put in place just last month. The Kremlin said in a statement on Friday that it had lifted restrictions on the export of diesel delivered to seaports by pipeline provided by the manufacturer at supplies with at least 50% of the diesel produced to the domestic market. This announcement came shortly after Russia imposed an indefinite ban on export of diesel and gasoline to most countries, sending shockwaves through global markets. Moscow initially implemented the measures on September the 21st, all to stabilize fuel prices in the domestic market. Meanwhile, its restriction for gasoline exports currently remained in place. And back home here in Nigeria, let's head to the domestic stock market. It ended Friday's trading session in a reversal of fortune on a day the exchange added just one new entrant to its trading list. John Mekwa has the details. And for the final time this week, thank you so much, Anne. This is the stock market report. We start on a pleasant note and say congratulations to VFD Group. The NGX keeps growing. Today recorded a new listing, VFD Group, a proprietary investment company. They entered into the market with 269 naira 30 kobo, and they were able to do 8 trades today worth over 31 million naira. So congratulations to VFD Group and congratulations to the NGX. Now to the market of the day. This week, the equities market in Nigeria has been displaying a dead cat bounce all through the week. Positive today, negative the next day. And so today we see that we've lost that green color that we had yesterday. The market dropped 0.17% at 66,454.57. But we're sustaining the 36 trillion naira. Thankfully, we have that. Now, a negative market breath with 20 stocks posting gains, 25 declined. A flip from what we had yesterday too. Now, it's also an interesting trading day today because two giants were at battle today. First, we have Airtel Africa. Airtel Africa actually gained 110 naira, 10 kobo, moved around 197 million naira around the market. Now, on the other hand, we have another major market mover, Dangote Cement. It lost 29 naira, 90 kobo, moved 281 million naira around the market. So who won? At the end of the day, unfortunately, the bear did. Thank you, Rini. We hope the bull knocks the bear next week, but it's a mixed close for major global markets. Investors are reacting to robust unemployment data coming from the world's biggest economy. Let's see the numbers for today. Well, that's business news for tonight. Thank you for watching. I'm Anne Mwawadu. Enjoy the rest of the weekend. It's back to you, Coyote.
Banking so easy, so simple. Dial *894# now to experience it. You first, First Bank.
Well, thank you, Anne. Jailed Iranian human rights activist Najez Mohammadi has won the 2023 Nobel Peace Prize. The 51-year-old was honored for her campaign against the oppression of women in Iran. Here's Simon Pusey with more on this and other international stories and around the world in 5.
Good evening and welcome to the channel's studios here in London with your international news around the world in 5. A jailed Iranian human rights activist has been awarded the Nobel Peace Prize.
To award the Nobel Peace Prize for 2023 to Narges Mohammadi for her fight against the oppression of women in Iran and her fight to promote human rights and freedom for all.
The head of the Nobel Committee lauded Mohammadi's fight against the oppression of women in the country, saying she was a freedom fighter. The activist is currently serving a lengthy sentence in Tehran's notorious Evin prison. The committee said it hoped Iran would soon release her. Her family said the award was a historic and profound moment for Iran's fight for freedom. The award comes after more than a year of protests in Iran, spearheaded by women. Ukraine's Interior Ministry has said people from every family in Ukraine's northeastern village of Hroza have been affected by a missile attack that killed 52 people. An 8-year-old boy was among the victims when a cafe was hit during a missile strike in the Kharkiv region. Ukraine's defense ministry blamed Russia for the attack and said there were no military targets in the area. Russia has not directly commented on the strike. Meanwhile, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has said that Europe has to support the United States during a tough period.
When did you make this decision?
A dispute among the Republican majority in the US House of Representatives has complicated budget negotiations and prompted President Joe Biden to go from confidence that a deal will be made on Ukraine aid to openly expressing concern. Zelensky, speaking to media on the sidelines of a summit of the European political community in Spain, said the situation with the United States is dangerous, but Ukraine is ready for any tough period.
Yes, it's a tough period for the United States, and of course it's a tough period for Ukraine, but since first days of full-scale war, we didn't have easy time. So we are ready for any tough period. For us, it's very important. Europe and the United States also have to be ready to work together this period, not to lose this unity.
Police in Uganda have denied arresting Bobi Wine, saying he was merely escorted home. Bobi Wine arrived on Thursday via the Rwandan capital Kigali following a series of international engagements. His supporters had planned to welcome him and accompany him to his home in a huge march, but the police said it was illegal.
Where are you taking him? Where are you taking him? Where are you taking him? Where are you taking him?
Instead, the former pop star, whose real name is Robert Kyagulanyi, was bundled into a car by officers. He made a failed bid for the presidency in 2021 in a tense election against President Museveni.
I'm officially not in Uganda because I did not go through immigrations. They picked me illegally, like you saw, and as we speak right now, I'm under house arrest because my house is surrounded. Soldiers and police are all over.
The Philippine Coast Guard has protested against what it said were attempts by the China Coast Guard to block a mission by 4 ships to resupply Philippine troops on a disputed South China Sea atoll. A Philippine Coast Guard spokesperson said a Chinese Coast Guard vessel came within 1 meter of a Philippine vessel during the incident. Drone footage showed a Philippine Coast Guard vessel being blocked as well as being surrounded by Chinese Coast Guard vessels and militia ships. The atoll in the area is known as Ayaguin in the Philippines, while China calls it the Renai Reef. A small number of Philippine troops live on board the old Navy transport ship, which the Philippines grounded on the shoal in 1999 to reinforce its sovereignty claim. And France's government is working hard to contain a national panic over bedbugs, as a Paris school becomes the latest building to be hit by a reported infestation. Senior officials from the Health, Economy and Transport ministries are meeting at the Prime Minister's office to coordinate a plan of action against the insects. They are expected to speed up proposals for a national observatory on bedbugs. Their aim is to establish an accurate picture of the phenomenon. Ministers fear the image of Paris is being damaged and that tourism could suffer, especially during next year's Olympics. And that's your international news around the world in 5. Now back to the Channel studios in Lagos.
Thank you, Simon. Welcome to Sports News. Former Nigeria Premier League champions Rivers United have been drawn in Group C of the CAF Confederation Cup earlier today. The Pride of Rivers will face Club Africain of Tunisia, Dreams FC of Ghana and Academical de Lobito of Angola in the group stage starting in November. It will be the second time Rivers United will be facing Club Africain in the competition. And Juventus and France midfielder Paul Pogba's B sample has confirmed the presence of testosterone. Pogba, a World Cup winner in 2018, now faces a ban of up to 4 years. The 30-year-old had tested positive for testosterone after an away Serie A game against Udinese on August 20th, which resulted in his suspension by the Italian Anti-Doping Commission. Pogba's contract expires in June 2025, but Juventus could terminate the agreement if he is found guilty in a sporting trial. British-Nigerian professional boxer Dan Aziz believes his upcoming fight on October the 21st with Joshua Buatsi will produce a good show for the division and boxing fans. The bout is a final eliminator for the WBA light heavyweight title, and the undefeated Aziz believes he is ready to dethrone Buatsi, who holds the world's #1 ranking.
Ghana heritage, Nigerian, there's always a beef for who's got the best jollof rice. So yeah, hopefully this can add to who's got the better boxer. Do you know what I mean? Who's got the better boxers? And I know he's a very focused individual. He's a nice individual as well. He's helped me come up. As my outside of the ring, I would class him as a friend. So October 21st is going to be something interesting. But yeah, he's a good guy, good fighter, and I look forward to fighting him on October 21st.
In tennis, Shanghai Masters third seed Olga Rene has crashed out of the tournament in straight sets earlier today, the highest profile of several top 20 players to be knocked out of the tournament. World number 5 Rene never found his rhythm as he fell 6-love, 6-2 to 22-year-old American Brandon Nakashima, ranked 122nd in the world.
Set the match, Nakashima. 2 sets to love. 6-love, 6-2.
World number 10 Alexander Zverev is also out after being overpowered by 50th ranked Roman Safiullin 6-3, 6-1. It was sweet revenge for the Russian, who missed out on a first tour level title in late September when Zverev came back from a set down to beat him in the Chengdu Open. That's Sports News, and back to you, Kaidi.
Well, thank you, Chris. And the main news again. The Lagos State Police Command today named an auxiliary nurse, Feishayo Gedengbe, as a prime suspect in the death of Afrobeat singer Mohbad. The command also listed Naira Marley, Sam Larry, and Prime Boy as other suspects in the case. A federal high court in Lagos has issued a production warrant for Naira Marley to answer to an 11-count charge bordering on conspiracy and credit card fraud filed by the EFCC. The Governorship Election Petition Tribunal has affirmed the election of Governor Alex Otti of Abia State in the March 18th governorship election in the state, just as it dismissed the petitions by the candidate of the PDP and the APC for lacking in merit. And a jailed Iranian human rights activist, Najez Mohammadi, has clinched the 2023 Nobel Peace Prize. Well, that's the news at 10 for tonight, everyone. Thank you for watching. I'm Kairi Kikilu. Good night.